Hey everyone, Daniel here from Arito, and in this video I'm really excited to talk about a couple of things. The first one is Arito's knowledge base, which consists of the wiki as well as the knowledge graph. So we're going to talk about the wiki, how the wiki is managed and accessed by the user, and the wiki is essentially free text. It's where the agent stores its understanding of the user's data, business logic, and etc. So there are two ways to update and amend this wiki. The first one is kind of explicit. For example, when the user adds a new instruction in the space, that kind of is transformed into some information inside that wiki, or implicit. For example, via user interaction, the agent learns from the user and from the user feedback and kind of augments that wiki as it goes. And so it becomes really the knowledge, the entire knowledge base of the agent. And that knowledge base is kind of stored per space. So for example, in this space, which is named Arcadia, if I go here, I can just access the knowledge base for this space. And the knowledge base, as you can see, it has different sections and it's indexed, obviously. So for example, I can have a section for budget forecast assumptions, that are assumptions that the agent have learned about the user preferences. Or there might be customer definitions that, for example, user might have add via instructions or any other manner. And there are like multiple pages here. Now, and when I have, for example, dashboards, let's say I go to this revenue dashboard, a dashboard can consume data both from data sources, but also from that wiki. Now, I want to go and use version control. I'm going to first save the current stats as a version. I'm going to give it a name, and this kind of versions the entire space, not just the knowledge base. I call it Q2 2026, and let's say I have that snapshot. As you can see, it's saved, and I go back now to the wiki. What we're going to do, we're going to edit that wiki and amend it. And there are two ways kind of to do that. So for example, I can do it manually if I want to, or I can use Arito to do that. So manually, we can just in line, I can go and change a number. Let's say the win rate is 77%, but let's say that I don't remember exactly what was concluded in the last management meeting about that. So I can ask Arito to go to my data sources, for example, a GON call that includes that information, and say, hey, go to that call and kind of bring me the data about what win rate, what was discussed, and what was the conclusion of that meeting, and just bring that information and amend this wiki for me so that the knowledge base is updated according to the latest management meeting. So I will let Arito do that. Obviously, Arito has access to all data sources. Gong is just one of them. Obviously, I could, for example, say, hey, go to that Excel file that we have and bring the assumptions based on certain Excel file or anywhere else. So we're going to let Arito go access that data. Obviously, there's a lot of calls and it's a lot of text analysis, so it might take a minute or two. We're just going to wait until Arito kind of brings that data and updates this wiki for us. All right, as we can see, Arito has basically changed the numbers. If you remember, the win rate best case was 77%, net become 85%, and it also includes the summary of the changes, so the viewer can understand. And it also says, okay, what data sources it has used. Now, I want to save this because now it's updated based on last meetings. But one thing is that Arito says, hey, there are widgets that might be affected by this, and I say yeah, let's go and update those automatically for me, which is very important. And obviously we have also included version control here. We can see, for example, if the version that I just saved previously, I can see exactly what has changed in my wiki since the last version that was saved, which is very powerful. So we can kind of go back and understand different versions that we have had and what has been the changes between versions, etc., etc. So we kind of have the entire version control here, as I mentioned, not only for the wiki, but for the entire space. Even the dashboards, instructions, everything here is kind of version controlled. All right, now we have seen that the widget has been updated. So we can go and kind of have a look at that widget. This is the one that was affected by that change in the wiki. As you can see, the best forecast has increased, for example, and all the numbers in fact has increased. And I can go back and look at the previous version to kind of see how what was that number. And I can obviously, as I mentioned, the entire spaces version controlled, so very easily I can see what has changed. Now, the agent also has access to the entire versions before. So if I go back to the live version, for example, I can ask Arito, hey, can you create, for example, a line chart comparing different versions? So at each version, Arito can access all the previous versions, and it's very useful, especially in scenarios where I want to, for example, compare different scenarios or different assumptions and different versions of the wiki and how that has affected my dashboards and all the business metrics that I have been kind of monitoring. So we're going to ask Arito to kind of create that chart for us, and we're going to see that how it kind of brings the data from different versions and kind of shows us a summary of the revenue forecast under certain and different kind of assumptions. Okay, Arito has finished the calculation. As we can see, it gives me a summary of differences between different versions of the knowledge base, and it kind of shows me how the best case has changed via different versions, kind of giving me a summary of what I have done from a kind of version control perspective. So in this video, we saw version control that kind of includes both versioning the knowledge base and the knowledge graph, but also versioning the entire space. We showed how Arito can help the user manage and kind of control the knowledge base. A user can edit the knowledge base by itself. Arito can help user when it comes to complex knowledge bases. It's very useful. And we also showed that how the version control is accessed by the agent for providing, for example, comparisons between different scenarios, etc. All right, that's it for today. Thank you.